Hey, what's up, guys? So today what I'm going to be doing is taking apart the power valve and cleaning that. So what I've done is went under Rocky Mountain ATV-MC, printed out the cylinder. Can't do just power valve, but wow, it's actually more clear looking through my phone than it is on the page itself. It's so weird. It's got to be something to do with pixels or something, but anyway, so I got some new parts in the mail. Let's see. And most of these I got from eBay, just because they're cheaper. And I made sure they're shipped from the US and, you know, have a 100% guarantee on what's in the box kind of deal. So, rings. Got my circlips. And I went with Wiseco. As a kid, I just always had buddies that swore by Wiseco, read up a lot about them. And this is actually, dude, look how sweet that looks. That is legit. It just looks cool. I don't know. I know I'll never see it again until I take it out of the cylinder and do another top end. But you can see there's my crankcase's bottom end. Yeah, so I went with Wiseco, and they're forged, so they're stronger, but you have to do like a good warm up every time you run them, and that way you're not damaging things on the inside. And then also you want to run them through some heat cycles too, and what that does is gets everything, lets the rings and adhere like to the cylinder better. And also the pistons from the factory, the way that they come, because they're forged, they're like out of one chunk of metal. The molecular structure is a little bit different. It's a lot different than on a cast piston. So with the forged piston, when you run it through the heat cycles, it actually basically sets itself, if I'm making any sense. Anyway, all the molecules kind of set themselves, and it like sets itself up in your cylinder, for a lack of better terms. All right, and then I went and got myself a UFO mud flap because Aaron, my brother-in-law, he raced this bike in the Desert 100 one year, and I wish I had it here to show you, but it ripped it off, the old one, and they went and cut out the milk jug, which I'm glad they did, because running it without anything would have just tore things up. Also got a Polysport block, chain block. I already told you guys about that. There's my guide. And then, this is pretty sick. I got a spec bolt kit. It's the engine and plastics bolts. So I've kind of looked through it, make sure that I've got most everything, but there's actually way more in here than what I'll be using. But I'm definitely going to be putting new bolts on the engine and a lot of the plastics. I remember one big thing before I even moved here from North Carolina was I was missing like an exhaust bolt. Just had some janky ass setup on there holding on. It wasn't that janky. It was a bolt, a couple washers, and a nut, and it worked. Got me through. Barely riding it there at all. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna go through and pull the power valve apart, and then I'm gonna go ahead and clean it. And what I've got for a cleaner is I got hot water and then Purple Power. Works pretty good. So I have probably around a 5-to-1 ratio in the bucket. And I'm just gonna dunk everything in there and let it sit for a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and scrub that down. I'm just gonna be using like a regular pad I've used to clean some parts before. And then I've got just one of these cheap Libin scrubbers, get some of the stuff off. And what else do I got? Well, that's gonna get the bulk of it. And then I am gonna go through after that on the outside, not the inside, but I'm gonna hit the outside with some Meguiar's Hot Rims aluminum wheel cleaner and get things shining up. That's gonna be after it dries and everything. So, yeah. Also today, this is pretty cool to me anyway. But I love tools and stuff that makes things easier. So Walmart, falling prices, $4. I was just looking at some wheels. And I was watching Cameron Newmill's page, and he uses these and like kind of swears by them for cleaning up aluminum parts, and as well as other metal parts. But I don't have a buffer, so I'm just going to be using my drill with this. And I'll show you guys some other parts or some other things that I use. I'm going to be using to clean up aluminum parts. I've never really anything besides like spraying with degreaser kind of thing, but got myself my Dremel. Let's see, with the Dremel, and since I'm already doing this, I'm just gonna go show you what else I've got in the kit. Flapper wheel. It's not as good as the one that Cameron uses, but this whole thing is pretty sick. And on like the triple clamps, it will take the cast lines out. It's a lot more detailed. Yeah, and that's probably, I tried to buff with the buff wheel that's on it. I tried to buff some of the triple clamps, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's just kind of making a blackish, grayish color on it. So, yeah. I'm gonna go back through and use this to get everything off, and I'll also take some of the cast lines out of it. And yeah. So I'm gonna set the phone up so I can go through taking this apart. Hopefully I can get like a good angle on it, and then you guys can make fun of me or whatever later on. See you in a bit.